You know what's there? Waiting. Beyond that beach. Immortality! Take it! It's yours!
Immortality Lab! Welcome, folks. That's what we are, the Immortality Lab. We are here to teach you how to live at 100%.
Almost forever.
Until you're 100 years old. And look at this guy. His name's Brian Devonshire. He's the fucking man. Oh, look at that. Look at that, dude. It's a... And I'm Christian Martirana. And here we are. We are going to be talking about some fad diet. And guess who
keto
is going to be talking about it? It's going to be Brian.
Motherfucking keto time, baby.
Oh, gosh. Everyone loves the keto.
Yeah, we are in the midst of the keto trend right now.
You know, we have been for like the past... Get away, dog. We have been for like the last... Jeez. It seems like 5-6 years now that everyone's like keto.
Really?
You know?
Yeah, I was going to show the Google trend search terms for it. Let's see.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
For keto. Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
It started in 18.
Oh my God.
It hasn't.
Okay.
It's very recent, 2 years. And if you look up ketosis, it's a little bit more. Like people on New Year's, look at that. There's a spike. Ketosis. And then finally someone made the keto diet 2 years ago.
Yeah, man. So recent. Yo, dog, you gotta go, buddy. You're making way too much noise.
Sorry, Moose.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Next time.
I just call him dog.
Dude, and you've heard of the bulletproof diet. Look at the trends on this one. It peaks in 15.
That's definitely older. Yeah.
Trendsetter, bulletproof coffee, 2015.
That's just where you put butter in it and.
Yep, like MCTs, medium chain, like coconut oil.
Right,
but
it's so crazy when people will buy MCTs and it costs so much more than just buying coconut oil.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. People, they love to buy expensive wine. You know, it tastes better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he'll sell you he'll tell you to buy specific butter, like the Kerrygold butter. It's just like grass-fed stuff. But it does.
Is there any actual benefit?
Yeah,
is there any
does.
Difference?
It does have more omega-3s in it. Basically, the cows that eat grass, they end up being healthier. Who would have thought?
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, right.
And you probably get less like antibiotics or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Dude, and look at this guy though. Here he is. You see that bad boy? Does it zoom in on your screen?
Yeah, dude.
Like he's the ultimate biohacker. This guy. He's got blue light blocking glasses. Look at this, dude.
Amber glasses, dude. He's like, no, you're not getting me, dude.
I mean, that's a real thing though, but it's like you're definitely a nerd if you're wearing those things like around,
100%.
like getting a portrait
around. Yeah, exactly. Like it's one thing wearing them like maybe to sleep when the
before
TV's
bed
on or something. Yeah.
But this guy, like at a job interview, and
oh my gosh, dude.
yeah, you're taking it too far, man. Yeah, look, he's a biohacker. Dave. Look at that.
My gosh.
Yeah, so
he's the creator of the bulletproof coffee, huh?
That's him. Yeah, so you founded it in 2013. Look at that. It launched in 2 years, his little business there. And then look at that. He raised $9 million from a venture capital company to expand.
That's so nuts, dude.
Yeah,
that'd be like if I added like raisins to chicken, and I'm like, this is a new thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing. Like, how can you
just try it, dude? Make it happen. Write a blog post and see if it works.
Yeah, right. It's like this new diet, just
like
eat raisins.
Like the Epstein-Barr thing, man. That worked out for him.
Right. My gosh.
Like, yeah, do that, and then just have always next to your six-pack. Like, look, see, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's the fucking raisin chicken. Come on.
Raisin chicken and magic mushrooms, of course.
Yeah.
But look at this. So this is what's interesting. I didn't know. He's a dude who expects to live to 180, he says.
Wow.
So yeah, he's
That's
a
nuts, dude.
biohacker. He's gonna live forever, or practically forever. So I mean, he kind of
180.
fits into our trend, man. He wants to live a long time. And you kind
Yeah.
of have to like be a biohacker, but like probably not to the extent he is with those bad boys. Yeah.
By the word biohacker, is that just like someone who's trying to hack biology, like trying to find the best way to biologically live, or like what does that mean exactly?
Yeah, I think it's a combo of that, like eating grass-fed butter, and then there's also the people who will like put microchips in their hand so that they can like open doors and stuff, or pay at their grocery store like with the little chip in their hand.
That's so crazy.
And there's a dude who surgically implanted antenna into his forehead. Like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Like why?
I
So
don't
he
know.
can listen to the radio, dude.
I think it's like
Hey man, you got something sticking out of your fucking head, dude.
I think it's a better way, he thinks, to rather than doing mushrooms and seeing the different dimension you get from mushrooms and stuff. You'll just get in tune with it, dial that radio. I don't know what he expects, man.
Interesting.
It's probably not going to work out for him.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
Okay. The keto diet. All right, dude. What is keto, man? What do you know about it?
Like when you reach ketosis, basically, like when your ketones are saturating your brain, basically, and then you're at ketosis, and at that point, it's not very healthy, dude. Like everything goes kind of fuzzy, and it's not good to be there long.
Right. Yeah. There's a point where it becomes not good for you. And we talked about this in the diabetic episode, the diabetes.
Yeah.
Let me see. Someone made this, and I couldn't remember the units, but here it is. It's the ketones in millimoles per liter.
Okay.
Yeah. So the ketoacidosis is not the good thing, and that's way over there. But you can get to the good stuff in in these low levels. That's what you want. So 0 to like 2.5 millimole per liter of ketones in your blood is probably where you want to be if you're looking for being in the keto diet and stuff.
And I know you can buy like strips, and I think you pee on them or something, and then it tells you what your ketones are at.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably the better one. I think you can also get things that prick your finger also, like the blood sugar testing things. They just test your ketones also. Right. But that's going a little too far. You don't really need to do those things, but people will spend their money on them. So
yeah,
more power to them, whoever's selling those things.
Well, then how else would you know that you're at the right zone?
That's true. I mean, I guess if you're like in a competitive level for some reason, like you need to be in ketosis. I really don't know why you would need to know that unless you're like, you're in a research study. Just do the diet. If you're doing the diet correctly, you're going to be in ketosis, or what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't really need to do it. Honestly, that's what I think. So the ketones that they're measuring are, it's beta hydroxybutyrate, BHB. You've heard that one before. It's like a supplement, probably.
I've heard of it, but I have no idea what it's about.
Okay. Yeah. It's just one of the ketones. Okay. They sell it. You can take it in a pill form. So that's the main ketone. And then you also get acetone, like nail polish remover.
Interesting.
Yeah. And acetoacetic acid. So those are the three main ones your body uses as fuel.
Acetone, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's in your blood, dude. And it's all metabolized by the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. So that it has to go through the mitochondria. And that makes it cool because it's a little bit faster to be metabolized that way, because it doesn't have to go through like the citric acid cycle. It just goes into the mitochondria, then it gets, oxidized as energy, and it makes a bunch of ATP. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that is.
And it's actually like a more efficient fuel source. Like you'll get more ATP per oxygen used out of it. So I think we were talking about how it affects like epilepsy. I think that's one of the reasons, because it's more efficient fuel source.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. But let's see here. Let's just talk about the epilepsy thing real quick. I want to go over that. So so that was one of the effects. And these other people hypothesize that it's probably the antioxidant effect from a keto diet. I think that's mainly just because you're decreasing your carbs. You're probably also affecting like the redox cycle, so there's less byproducts and whatnot. So that's one of the effects. And also it modulates the neurotransmitter. So it's going to, let's see here, you're going to end up with more GABA in your brain. So GABA is the inhibitory of the neurotransmitters. And I think the other one was like glutamate. So that's the excitatory one.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess it kind of like...
So you're going to have more GABA and less, what was the...
glutamate. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So yeah, it seems like it's having an effect of, like chilling out the neurons. With a seizure, you're just like, ah! And the neurons are firing out of control. So if you just kind of chill out, buddy. Hey, calm down.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy, dude? Like, that's nuts to think about. Like, a seizure is because the synapses are going nuts, like absurd, and the messages are just like all over the place, and you're like, I can't handle this, dude.
Yeah. And I think of that when people tell me that they're good multitaskers. Like if you were multitasking, you would be having a seizure.
Right. Like, yeah, multitasking, you can't.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly. I can't do two things equally as well. Like, my brain would be more effective at one of them, or I'd be half-assing both of them, or whatever.
If you're doing them 100%, two of them, like multiple things, you'd be
exactly.
dead. Or you would be on the ground biting your tongue.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so here's another cool thing with the keto diet. So it has an effect pretty much around the whole body of making more mitochondria. So you build more mitochondria because you have more of this fat fuel floating around that needs to get metabolized, and it can only do that with mitochondria. So it would make sense you make more of those.
Right.
So with that in your brain, you'll have more mitochondria. You're going to have a higher ATP to ADP ratio. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have more ATP just chilling, waiting to be used. So that leads to increased neuronal stability, which is required for seizure control. And so here's a quote from one of the studies I was reading about this, and it says, "It enables neurons to better withstand metabolic challenges in the face of increased energy demand." So
interesting.
There you go. You're just more able to handle any potential seizure initiating event, I guess.
Yeah. That's interesting, man.
Yeah, and it works because you need ATP to regulate the membrane polarization. So if your membrane fires, it's depolarizing. So to maintain those like the charges and the neuronal firing, you need energy.
Naturally, yeah. Okay.
So there it is, dude. Here are the 3 high-fat diets that are really popular. So we talked about the Bulletproof guy. South Beach is another high-fat diet, and Atkins. So, we mentioned these ones before. Atkins just works. It has like 4 phases or something like that. Let's see here. I brought up the website. Let me share the screen.
Yeah, if the Atkins diet is followed correctly, it's a pretty badass diet, I suppose.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So you start off with, you basically work your way into more and more carbohydrate stuff,
Right.
and you end up with 80 to 100 grams daily net carbs. Which, I mean, that's still kind of low. Like usually, people are in the 300, 200 range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that works out. And that's a good, what is it? Elimination diet. So you can find out what carbs you don't tolerate well.
Exactly.
And the South Beach, I think they just avoid high glycemic stuff. Yeah, they emphasize a low glycemic index. So that's what the Atkins essentially is doing also. And the bulletproof, like if you want to boil it down for simplicity, you're basically just decreasing the insulin in your body.
Mm. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
right.
So the South Beach diet doesn't care how many carbs you have as long as it's low glycemic index.
Yeah, they have like the macros, and they focus on like good carbs. So you're limiting the carbs, right? But when you're having carbs, they're going to be complex, high fiber stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are pretty cool. But damn, I looked at the website for South Beach, and they will just suck you dry. It's so expensive to order their meals and their program.
Just make your own.
Yeah. Or, I mean, yeah, just buy vegetables. Super easy. And like one thing I wanted to point out with the bulletproof, so it started out with the coffee. Like, so you dump the fat into the coffee, and you're just like, you're just skipping breakfast because you're not hungry, right?
Right.
And I mean, you're essentially doing intermittent fasting, and you're on accident doing intermittent fasting.
Well, once you start eating fat, that's not fasting though.
Right. It's not total fasting, but I mean, instead of like the fat you have in your coffee is going to reduce your appetite, so you're not going to eat breakfast. But it does give you a little insulin bump, so you're not really fasting, but it's like it's pretty close.
Right. Okay.
And that's where people get the benefits, I think, and you can lose a lot of weight with it.
For sure.
So, like there's lots of controversies around the keto diet. Like, have you heard of any big ones that pop out in your head?
Well, like I just know a lot of people just don't follow the diet correctly. They just like, oh, no carbs at all. It's like that's not it, But other than that, I'm not unaware.
Yeah, it's really a very low carb diet. Like so if you have too many carbs or too much protein, actually, you'll kick yourself out of ketosis. People don't know about the protein part usually, because you can convert like the protein into carbs, and essentially, it's as if you ate some carbs.
That's nuts. Like, how much protein would you need to do that?
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody.
Right.
Okay, so I guess that's where the strips would come in useful, because if you're dialing in your macros, and you go from 30% protein down to 20% or something, and that's where you're actually in ketosis. I guess that would be actually useful. But yeah, I don't know the number off the top of my head. The
and
protein.
Then like if you leave ketosis for one day, do you have to like restart the whole process?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's however long it takes for the insulin levels to go back down, I think.
Okay.
Because it's based on your genetics. Like if you have no carbs and no insulin in your body, your genes are going to switch, and everything has to, the machinery in your body has to switch to digesting fat as energy.
Right.
And it won't get that signal if insulin is high. So however long it takes insulin to get down, bam, that's when you're back into.
Gotcha.
So about half a day.
Interesting, man.
So that's that. Yeah, people will just fast overnight on accident, and that's really all it takes.
Yeah, on accident. That's the truth.
Yeah, and we talked about this in the fat equals devil diet. Like the high fat is going to cause heart disease. No, it's not.
Right.
So here's some interesting things. The low carb, that's just going to improve your HDL, the good cholesterol, and it's going to barely affect your LDL. But the keto, the very low carb, that's actually going to increase your LDL, but it's increasing everything, not specifically LDL, and it's actually limited to bigger LDLs. So that just tells you that there's more fat circulating around, and you need bigger boats to carry that around. So it's not really a bad thing, I don't think.
Man, based on that, I would way rather improve my HDL and keep the LDL the same as opposed to increasing LDL with it too.
Yeah, and that's what I would do. Like the keto diet is cool and all. Like if you're doing it to lose weight, that's awesome. And if it works for you, great. But then you have to switch to something more sustainable, like a low carb diet, like the phase 4 of Atkins, and then you can actually keep it off for the rest of your life, right?
Right.
So you do the keto and you have the increase of LDL for a short period, and then you get off of it, and then everything's perfect again. So you pretty much just want to do this for a couple of months, not too long.
Which, yeah, exactly. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm on the keto diet," and they do it for so long. And it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you don't really need to, man.
That makes sense based on that.
Just do it so you lose weight, get down to the weight that you want, and then stop.
And then keep eating
the
healthy,
carbs.
though.
Yeah, work the carbs back in. Complex carbs. So we can touch on the pills that you take for like the exogenous ketones. So you can actually take those, and it will raise the ketones for a few hours, but that's not the same as the body getting the signal through the genetics to switch the machinery around and create ketones. You know what I mean? It's you're elevating your ketone level in your blood, and you can pee on a strip just because you took those pills, and then the strip will tell you you're in ketosis. But
Right.
it's not the same.
I hear you.
Your insulin is still high. Your genetics still think that you just ate a fucking sandwich,
I hear you. Yeah. So it's basically false reading of ketosis.
Yeah. There's really no reason to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could just do the bulletproof coffee, man. You just have some butter in the morning, and that's going to increase your ketones naturally. And you didn't waste money on a pill.
Exactly. All you need is butter.
So one of the main controversies is the keto diet is going to damage your organs, and there's no evidence of this. So we'll go through the thyroid. So it'll have no effect on TSH and T4, but it may reduce T3. So it might screw your labs a little bit, but assuming you have the same amount of calories, the keto diet is not going to affect your thyroid a whole lot. But if you're doing it to lose weight, of course, your thyroid levels are going to change. So if you do the keto diet to lose weight, and that's going to, and we know this, like people, when they lose weight, they can decrease their thyroid meds or just get off of them completely. So that's where it's good. And the kidneys, again, no, it's not going to hurt your kidneys. So here's a meta-analysis on 12 trials. They said no effect on markers of renal function was found after provision of a low-carb diet compared with a control diet in type 2 diabetes patients. So no effect.
That's great. That's great to know.
So the opposite is it's probably going to help your kidneys actually because of the lower blood sugars and the lower blood pressure you get from a keto diet. So that's protecting your kidneys. But people people think this because they do the keto wrong, and they get like a high protein in their diet. So they're actually having low carb, but it's like high protein and high fat. And so it's the high protein that's damaging your kidneys. So
yeah, right.
do the keto diet right, people.
I remember a lot of people in high school used to drink so many protein shakes, and you're drinking way too much protein, you're going to damage your kidneys and liver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they probably did.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and then so the next one is the liver. So I did not know this. This is fucking awesome. It's actually used, the keto diet's used to reverse non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And this is what people, like I had a dietitian I was working with, and she had just gotten out of the internship. So like she just gotten fresh out of school, and I talked to her about the keto diet, and she was like instantly like, oh, that's going to hurt your organs, your liver. It's going to damage all these things. And I'm like, I don't think there's any evidence, but she gets indoctrinated by the school basically. Right. So they think that having a high fat diet is going to make more fat in your liver, and you're going to be a diabetic because of that. But it does the fucking opposite. Like they've been using this to reverse NAFLD, fatty liver, for like almost 8 years now.
That's
crazy.
Cool. That's cool that it's been used for 8 years. Like it's prevalent enough.
Yeah, and here, check this out. So they measured the fat in the liver, and it was decreased by 31% in 6 days.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's so significant.
I know, it's crazy. And so it basically does it because of the mitochondrial changes and the reduced oxidation. So like the anti-inflammation effect. So it sounded pretty sweet to me.
Yeah, it does.
And they also think the acid from the ketones will, it'll slowly degrade your bones, and you'll get osteoporosis from it. That makes sense, right?
Right.
But then
it's false.
Yeah, just one word answer is the bicarb in your blood that balances it out, just like the alkaline water we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so bam, that one's done.
Yeah.
So the only actual legitimate concern from keto is probably you're going to get constipation or some diarrhea effects. It's from too little fiber and like suddenly having a lot of fat in the diet. Like you might get some diarrhea. But just eat some more leafy greens, and
then you're good.
Yeah. Okay, so for the brain, again, no. So your brain mainly runs on carbs. So it actually uses like 20% of our energy. Do you know that?
I didn't.
Yeah. So
Hold that thought.
Okay, cool. Little intermission there, folks.
Yeah, right. You can edit that out or whatever.
Yeah. So we were just talking about the brain. No, the keto diet's not going to damage your brain. Your brain can easily switch from, well, relatively easy, I guess, from carbs to ketones, and it can actually use lactate, like the shit that gives you muscle soreness. They can use all of those things as fuel. So you're good, man. And, we talked about how the ketones, they just go directly into the mitochondria. They're like kind of faster that way. They use ketones and lactate. They both do this. They use that as a fuel, and it's like a treatment for brain injuries who can't, like their brains can't utilize glucose the right way. So they'll use those as a treatment.
Wow, dude. And it actually works on lactate.
Uh-huh. Yeah, like your heart uses it. I think your muscles can use it to some degree too. I might be lying about that, but but yeah,
that's
so
nuts.
It's a fuel source. It's not like this evil thing, but it is a byproduct that makes your muscles sore and stops you from working out though.
That's so crazy, like how adaptable the body is. It's like, oh, there's lactate, let's use it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So at that point, if you're in ketosis, working out, you create more lactic acid, lactate. that you're creating more fuel for your body?
So yeah, it depends on like how hard you're working out.
Right.
So this dude has what is his name? I don't know. It's like some weird European name. I'll look it up and then put it on the screen. But he has he talks about these different zones. I'm sure you've heard about them. Like zone 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like based on how your heart rate is, like your max heart rate.
Cardio zones.
Yeah. And so the zone 1, 2, and 3, like your lactate is low, but your fat oxidation is high. And then at like zone 4, it crosses. And so so when you're doing, high intensity workouts, you're going to feel more lactic acid buildup.
Right.
So it's, you were saying if you're in ketosis, you're making more lactate?
No.
Okay.
If you are in ketosis, right, and you are making lactate from your workouts, it just uses the lactate as fuel. Or does it even matter if you're in ketosis or not? Like your brain just automatically does use lactate as fuel. Do you have to train your body to use lactate as fuel, or does it just
you do have to train. You have to have more mitochondria.
Okay.
You have to be able to use the fuel, right?
Right.
And so this is where we get into the keto flu. Like you've heard about that.
Yes.
People talk about they get sick or whatever right after they do the keto. They go from eating, this standard American diet, just trash, and they go right to the keto and they feel like shit.
Yeah, of course. What a difference.
So that's partly because they're not used to they don't have enough mitochondria. So all this fat starts flooding their bloodstream and their body's like, oh, fuck, I can't do anything with this. And so they feel sluggish. Right.
Okay.
And a number of other things. So you go from high carbs, you're eating pizza and sandwiches and delicious candy all the time. You have a lot of dopamine, you're happy, and you have a lot of insulin, which retains sodium and water. So you're happy and fat. And then you switch over to keto, you have less insulin. This makes you pee. So you're the less insulin means you're holding on to less sodium. So as a result, you're going to pee more. You're going to lose the sodium and water. So you're going to lose weight and you're going to get a headache.
Yeah.
And you're going to be sad because you can't eat carbs anymore.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So that's the keto flu. And it's fixed by eating more salt and water and doing it, working up to it,
Interesting. So if you're on the keto diet, you should also limit your sodium?
No, you got to add more if you want to avoid the
keto flu. Okay.
You got to add more because the insulin normally would be higher on a regular diet. That's telling you to hold on to the sodium.
Right. Okay.
So without that signal, you just need more all the time.
Okay. So by adding sodium into your diet, it's not going to change the ketosis or when you'll get there. Okay.
Nope.
It's completely independent. Okay.
It's just about the insulin, basically.
Sweet.
Cool. So there it is. So here's a cool story I wanted to tell about. It's like the fat adaption. So those people who get the keto flu, they're not fat adapted. They're not as metabolically flexible. Like, so if you try going into the keto immediately, you're going to, you feel like shit. But someone who is metabolically flexible and fat adapted, they could just switch from regular high carb to keto and they'd be fine. And it basically comes down to how much mitochondria you have. And you can get more mitochondria by eating higher fat. You'll get the signal to make more. And with exercise, specifically in zone 2, which is like 60 to 70% of your max heart rate.
Right.
So by doing both of those things, you'll be more able to switch fuel sources.
That's interesting. How do you have to do zone 2 for a good amount of time? Like how long?
Yeah, that dude, the European guy. I can't remember his name. He recommends doing it like that's going to be the most of their training. Like it's almost like 80%, like 80-20 rule basically.
Okay.
So athletes who are training to, increase that, you want to spend most of your time in zone 2.
And then so you're adapting to use fat as a fuel basically better, right?
Yep.
And so if you then stopped doing zone 2 training, would you switch back? And how long would that take?
Yeah, you would start to lose mitochondria. Right.
Do you have to do it forever? You just have to always train.
Oh yeah, so I don't know how long it takes to like start losing ability.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's pretty short amount of time, like 2 months probably. Yeah. So you can take a couple months off or 2 months off.
Yeah,
and it won't be that bad.
Okay.
That's cool. You will have a pretty significant drop in ability. So I probably wouldn't go more than 2 months without working out on a regular basis,
Yeah, but that's specific to zone 2. Like, so if you're then in zone 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, then it won't do it.
So it probably doesn't have the same effect. This guy was just specifically saying zone 2 has the most effect on creating more mitochondria. So maybe the other ones do.
Okay.
Yeah. So this dude, Mike Trevino, he's like an ultra endurance athlete. So he does cycling and he does these crazy, cycles across the United States.
I've heard about him before.
Oh yeah. I think I mentioned him before.
Maybe. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So he does these crazy things. He's an ultra endurance athlete and he loves, he's fat adapted. He loves being high fat diets, low carbs. So let's see here. So there was this one story where he was going to run his age in miles for his birthday. And yeah, so he turned like 45. So he ran 45 miles before his family brunch on his birthday.
Wow.
And then he was like, yeah, I wasn't really hungry either. And so he's fat adapted. He had enough fat in his body. And from his meal yesterday, he could use that as energy. And he wasn't even hungry after running 45 miles.
That's crazy, man.
And that's what it's like.
Man, that's nuts. I feel like at that point you'd have to give your body some more fat then to refuel for later in the day or whatever.
Yeah. But in his case, this is like normal for him.
Right.
So he has like his glycogen store is massive, probably. And also with endurance athletes like that, you'll get these fat droplets on the outside of your mitochondria. So they see this in obese people with diabetes. Like they'll have the fat droplets on the outside of their mitochondria, but like a regular person won't. But then when you get into ultra endurance athletes, they get it again.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's weird, right? You would think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it's basically just, if you need a lot of energy, you're gonna have more of it available right there
to use. Right.
But in the the obese diabetic case, they just can't use as much. Like it just builds up. Like they're unable to do it. Yeah, so that's interesting. So he just has a ton of energy available for him, and he can use it, and so that's why he wasn't hungry.
So, man. 45 miles, jeez.
Mm-hmm. And so he learned about this from his time mountaineering. He was climbing up shit. So he's like, carbs didn't work for me. I just phased out carbs and alcohol, and like you feel faster, you feel better and cleaner doing a high carb diet with mountaineering.
Mm-hmm.
And so he mentioned this guy.
You mean a low carb?
Oh shit, yeah. Doing like a high fat diet. Yeah.
Okay.
So he mentioned this dude, Mark Twight, his book, Moving Fast and Lighter. So he mentioned taking a shot of oil was better than carbs and pasta at altitude. So I thought that was interesting. Just being at altitude changes your ability to use different types of fuel.
Yeah, that's weird. Why is that? Do you know?
But if that's the case, then he started out mountaineering, and if you're more able to use fat at altitude, he's just gonna lean towards that because you're gonna feel better. And so he just accidentally became fat adapted. And then so when he got back down to regular elevation, he started cycling again. And I guess he probably found out that I was like, damn, I'm good at this.
Right.
So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yeah, so that's it. So we can hit the summary here. High fat diets won't clog your arteries. Your brain doesn't need carbs. Your whole body doesn't even need carbs. You can make them on your own from fat and protein. Keto won't destroy your organs. You're fine. Ketosis actually helps with epilepsy, appetite control, weight loss, diabetes, fatty liver, endurance. So it's pretty cool. But again, you probably don't need to do it for like more than 12 months, to be honest.
Right. And then like as far as saying your brain doesn't need carbs because we can make it from protein and fat.
Right.
You have to.
You don't need to eat carbs, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. But you have to train your body to do that. Like, don't just like you have to follow a protocol. You can't just not eat carbs and think everything's gonna be okay.
Work your way into it.
And the Atkins diet has it down pretty well.
I think so. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you do it right.
If you do it right, that's exactly it.
And one more thing.
So many people have not followed. They've like said they're on the Atkins diet and then they don't follow it. And then they complain that it doesn't work.
It's like every single diet, dude.
Yeah, like Dr. Atkins. He's like, like, dude, why aren't you following it correctly?
I'm sure he's pissed, man.
Yeah.
I did want to mention another thing. Like there was this story of this dude fasting for 360 days. Did I tell you this before?
360 days.
Yeah, they did this experiment like a long time ago, and he was medically supervised. He was like morbidly obese dude, and they gave him water and vitamins and like checked up on him pretty frequently, but he didn't eat anything for a year, and he didn't die, but he lost a ton of weight. So you're in ketosis for a year, and he basically had no problems. He lost weight. He felt better. I think he's still alive today. And with the weight loss, he didn't actually have like the extra flabby skin you get from doing that.
Right.
Which is interesting too.
Yeah. So, why is that? Do you know?
I don't know. His body was just like
breaking
down the skin and like using it as fuel, but I don't know. So yeah, you can be in ketosis for a long time and you won't have any problems. But do you need to? No.
Was it Angus?
I don't know his name, but it's like a black and white photo. It's like
1965.
Okay, that sounds right.
That's crazy. It was a year and 17 days.
Yeah.
He lost 125 kilograms.
Yeah, so he's like a completely different person now.
Dude, what? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. I bet he had the keto flu at the beginning of that for sure.
Oh my gosh, yeah, 250 pounds. Holy moly, dude, in a year. Man, I wonder if he kept it off, or I'm gonna definitely read this story. That's nuts.
Yeah, that's it, folks.
It says, don't try this at home. Like, no, I'm not gonna try this at home at all. I'll never try that at home. I would definitely need doctors watching me. I don't have enough fat calories in my body.
You have to gain 300 pounds first.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy. It's crazy that like experiments like that have happened.
Mm-hmm.
He's all happy in both pictures too.
I'm sure I would be too. Damn.
Yeah, I guess. That's nuts.
Now we have like ethics and shit, so we can't do that with people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yuck. Gross.
Yeah, shitty ethics.
Fucking FDA regulating stuff. Come on.
Oh my gosh. Well. Immortality Lab. Look at that. Here's our first fad diet that we talked about.
We got plenty more.
We got plenty more. And
So
you're the
many.
man. You're the man with the plan to talk about it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Next week we'll talk about how different drugs affect your health and your life and longevity. And if some are positive, some are negative, we'll see. We will see. Yeah. Tune in.
Dude, it's because Oregon and Washington legalized magic mushrooms.
Yeah.
And marijuana is like legal almost everywhere now.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
We got to talk about it. So
we have to. Yeah, exactly.
In Mexico too. Did you hear that?
Whether it's illegal or legal there, doesn't even matter though.
Dude, in Mexico, they just legalized it with
that's crazy.
Out of 100 votes in the Senate or something, it was 82 for yes to legalize it.
Do you think that's to like stop cartel stuff? Or?
Yep, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They're probably like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. We don't want this.
Right. What a problem. Dude, it's been so prevalent there for so long. That's nuts. The cartel's probably so mad. Like they made so much money from that, dude.
Now they're gonna peddle celery juice, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Or cocaine and meth and people, you know.
Yeah, whatever else is next.
Yeah,
dude. There's always gonna be an underground railroad.
Always,
dude. With COVID and the gym lockdown stuff, did you hear this? Like, there was an actual underground gym, and they put like fake under construction signs on the windows, and so people could go into these gyms and work out, on their own with no rules or whatever. So people are just going to find a way for anything.
That's
anything
so
they want to do.
Like just work out at home or something. I don't know. Like
I know.
Don't do that. Like you're trying that hard to work out. Like my gosh,
dude. But the gym owner there made so much money.
I bet. But he's probably in jail now. Like you can't do that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
My gosh.
Okay. Signing off, folks.
Immortality Lab.
Immortality! Shake it! It's yours!